I love Final Fantasy. I have loved this series since I was a very young child. Each entry in the series has provided me with so many wonderful memories and experiences, and although the series has been going on for over 30 years now, both the main line and the side games are extremely versatile. You can go from a fully fantasy setting to a sci-fi adventure to a road trip with your best buds. This flexibility has often led to very interesting and sometimes outlandish projects. And while the general public certainly has some entries that are preferred over others, one thing that I've appreciated over the years is the series' ability to always tell compelling and cohesive stories.
Bullshit.
Okay, so a few stand out. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin is an action RPG with Souls-like combat and a Diablo-esque loot system, developed by Team Ninja and Square Enix in 2022. The Team Ninja is pretty well known for Ninja Gaiden, Nioh, and Dead or Alive. Extreme. It's called Final Fantasy Origin because it's a retelling of Final Fantasy 1. Yeah, the one on the NES and Famicom if you're from Japan. This is a game that I'm profoundly conflicted on. I both love and hate it, and I'm unable to tell which side is a stronger feeling. So this video will be my therapy. I will finally pass my thoughts and tell you about this game, from visuals to gameplay to story.
He's here.
And I mean all of the story.
We're here to kill chaos.
And boy, is there a lot to say about this game. This definitely won't be an entirely negative video, but I can't make it entirely positive either. This game is fascinating for the same reasons it is frustrating, and that's something that's worth exploring. So let's start at the beginning, all the way in 1987 with Final Fantasy 1. Hey, if you already know a lot about Final Fantasy and don't want to have a recap, you can always just click the timecode and skip this section of the video. Thanks, bye. Released by Square and directed by my main man Hironobu Sakaguchi, Final Fantasy was a turn-based RPG featuring a party of 4 custom characters going on an adventure to find the 4 elemental crystals and stop a big bad called Chaos. Remember this name, it's going to be very important, oh my god, trust me. The original Final Fantasy was a hugely influential game, not only because, it spawned a bazillion sequels and spin-offs, but also because it took a very different approach from its RPG contemporaries. For example, other popular Japanese RPG games at the time, like Dragon Quest or Megami Tensei, utilized a front-facing combat screen. Now, Final Fantasy actually showed your party members on the side of the screen, giving you constant visual feedback during battle. And although it wasn't the first game to do this, it was certainly one of the most impactful, with every subsequent Final Fantasy game and many other RPGs following suit. The other major departure was the character creation screen. At the very beginning of the game, you had full control of how your party would play out. You could make a balanced party, or you could have 4 white mages because you hate yourself, why not? Final Fantasy was very heavily inspired by Dungeons & Dragons. Hironobu Sakaguchi borrowed many concepts from D&D and implemented them into Final Fantasy. Things like character classes, mage, warrior, thief, and monsters like goblins, kobolds, elves, etc. Playing through Final Fantasy 1, you can definitely feel a little bit of that Dungeons & Dragons flavor. I can't talk about Final Fantasy without also mentioning the artwork. Each Final Fantasy game had key art drawn by Yoshitaka Amano, who has an extremely unique style. His art was always more moody, with characters being drawn more proportionally, yet having these piercing gazes, and even male characters had slightly more feminine aesthetics. This definitely made Final Fantasy stand out at the time. The art was seen not only as something that could appeal to people overseas, but also gave the series a more serious tone. You know, a big departure from the equally great Akira Toriyama's art for Dragon Quest. I'm mentioning all of this to highlight the importance of the visuals and the character customization in Final Fantasy, two things that I think are very much carried forward in Stranger of Paradise. After getting your party ready in Cornelia, you find out that Princess Sarah was kidnapped by a knight named Garland. So you go to the Chaos Shrine, beat him up, and then you're on your merry way to collect power from 4 elemental crystals and fight the 4 evil fiends who are trying to resurrect an ancient god named Chaos. Killing God in an RPG? Now the game does have some interesting concepts. If you've ever played a Final Fantasy game before, you're probably aware that the series loves mixing in science fiction elements into its settings. Some more than others. But that trend was actually started in Final Fantasy I. The game has some interesting lore about a highly advanced ancient civilization and a full-on spaceship-themed dungeon, with a secret boss who can kick rocks for all I care. Just imagine being little Timmy in 1989 playing his fantasy game, suddenly stumbling across this sci-fi super boss that wipes his whole team in one hit. I could just hear the controller shattering against the wall. So the game certainly had some things worth exploring in the next game, right? In Final Fantasy II? Well, if you're alive right now, you know that's not what happened. Each mainline Final Fantasy ended up being a separate story, in separate worlds, with some vague connections like monsters, jobs, and the odd reference. So it does make some semblance of sense that the decision was made to expand upon that very first game's story. After all, it did have some cool concepts. So, were they worth exploring? Let's discuss. Stranger of Paradise begins rather abruptly with a man named Jack being seemingly thrust into the world of Final Fantasy I. Waking up in the city of Cornelia with a black century egg-shaped crystal and a burning desire to destroy something called Chaos.
Mission is to kill Chaos. That's all I know.
Told you it's important.
Me too.
I mean it, this guy
Jack.
does not shut up about Chaos.
Yes.
He talks about Chaos so much that chances are
When are
you've
we gonna
probably
fight
heard
Chaos?
clips of him talking about
This
it,
monster
even if you know
hunting is a pain
nothing
in the
else about
ass.
this game.
Chaos. 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 Chaos and chaos. Chaos. Chaos.
So upon first inspection of Jack and the premise, you'd be forgiven for assuming that we're dealing with what the cool kids call an isekai story, which just means a character from one world being whisked away to another, usually from our world to a fantasy one. And I mean, that would fit the bill. Looking at Jack's character design, he does seem very out of place, doesn't he? It's honestly quite jarring seeing him interacting with the clearly very fantasy-coded townspeople. But rest assured, this is not an isekai story. It's much stranger. Hey, wait a minute! Right off the bat, Jack is joined by 2 other characters, Ash and Jed. They are seemingly also not from this world, judging by their clothes and the fact that they also have these black
Crystals can
crystals,
sense each other.
which, for the purpose of my sanity, I will refer to, until the end of this video, as smelly eggs. Okay, so let's talk about these characters. Where do I even... Okay, Jack. Jack is a jerk. No, I mean it. This guy sucks. He's abrasive and standoffish with everyone for no reason, including his party members.
What?
It's interesting that his design is so plain, you'd almost think that he's supposed to be a player surrogate character, like a Link, or a Link, but the way he acts, that's just clearly not the case. I don't know if that's genius, or just the worst. Hey, that sums up my thoughts of the game. thanks for watching, everyone. That's the end of the video. Don't look down. Don't look down at the time thing. Just, you can finish. You can stop watching now. Save yourself. Okay, guys, I gotta tell you, this one's gonna be a real challenge for me. While Jack does grow on you a little over the course of the game, he's just too much for me to handle on my own.
Right.
If only I could get help with this video from someone who understands the thoughts and mind of a Jack. What I need is a Jack. While we are separated via like 2 billion miles of distance, through the magic of the internet, I'll be able to show off our co-op gameplay and some of our discussions throughout the video. So Jack, is there anything you want to say to our lovely viewers?
Chaos?
How right you are. Alright, so the other party members, Jed and Ash, they're pretty inoffensive. I think that's actually a really jarring thing, since Jack is so abrasive and in everyone's face all the time.
Wherever it is.
It's weird to have these two characters who are just completely subdued. Jed is more goofy and expressive. He reminds me a little bit of Prompto from Final Fantasy 15, but like a Prompto light. And similarly, Ash is more stoic and reserved, so he reminds me of Gladio, but a Gladio light. Huh. Along the way we meet Neon, who... Well, actually, I don't know what to say about her character. Like, she says words, I think?
Say something.
He's good.
Wait, no, I distinctly remember she says boring a lot during gameplay.
Boring.
So, there's that. I do like the fact that all the party members have names that are 4 or less characters long. It's a nice little reference to Final Fantasy 1, where your party members had the same naming limitation on the NES. Cool little touch. But then the game gives you a character that has 5-letter name! What is this game? These characters aren't going to win any awards for depth, but they do have a few funny scenes. Probably unintentionally funny, seeing as they usually blindside you, but they are a riot.
You might not like this, but you know I like to speak my mind.
Let's go.
He has spoken 10 lines of dialogue in the entire game, but sure, he loves speaking his mind. Why not? Of course, every single time. Okay, I'm feeling too negative again. Time to talk about something positive, and that is the premise. I have to admit that the way that the game is set up, I really wasn't sure where it was going at first.
However,
it's very apparent that while it may be a retelling of Final Fantasy 1's story, something is definitely off. For example, the heroes start off as a 3 and only gain their 4th party member after defeating them. And all of our party members certainly don't look like they belong in this type of setting. Something is off, and to be fair, the game does do a pretty good job at keeping you guessing throughout the game. But as you'll find out, that's not that much of a compliment. I suppose having a character so unlikable as the protagonist does enhance this sense of unease. See what I mean when I say that this is either genius or the worst?
looks like it.
Then why doesn't it feel like it? What do you want?
We talked so much about the premise and characters, but what about the actual gameplay? Well, the core of the game consists of going through segregated missions accessible through a map screen. Yeah, this game isn't open world, but that does mean that the levels don't have to organically connect to one another, and that actually leads to a lot of creativity in locales. Each mission will have a different objective, but you'll be going through the areas multiple times to tackle various side quests you pick up along the way.
Defeat all Tomberries. Ah.
Fighting enemies provide you with a huge amount of loot. You'll collect a plethora of items from combat, but you'll also get rewarded for completing missions, which means you'll be drowning in gear. I did mention this is a looter game, right? Think a Dark Souls Diablo mix. The amount of loot you get is genuinely pretty staggering, especially the further in you get into the game. It's both a good and a bad thing. On one hand, the gear has a lot of statistics and passive abilities, which makes everything you collect feel unique and useful for various builds. But on the other, you'll find that your inventory will consistently be full, unless you make a habit of selling all your junk between missions. Now that doesn't take that much time, but it does get a little bit annoying, especially after dozens of hours. Thankfully, there is a loot filter option in the settings, and you can even set up auto-selling, though it is a bit finicky. Even though they are mostly linear, there is a good amount to explore in each level. Going out of your way definitely gets rewarded with pretty good loot. Though that does lead sometimes to running back and forth in the levels, trying to differentiate which path is the correct path and which path is just a side path. This could have been indicated a lot better. Now when it comes to the combat, buckle up, because I'm about to be real positive. The combat in this game is fantastic. It's actually so fantastic that whatever I could possibly criticize the game for really pales in comparison to how well it plays. At first glance, the combat looks like standard Souls-like fare. You've got your light attacks, heavy attacks, blocks, and a variety of weapons like swords, axes, spears, maces, etc. On top of that, enemies can deal a pretty sizable amount of damage even at the beginning of the game, especially on the hard difficulty. R1 is your normal light combo. Holding R1 makes you do a heavy attack, while R2 triggers a skill that uses MP. At the beginning of every mission you have 2 MP bars, but with each successful execution and parry, you recover and increase your maximum MP bars for that mission. It's a cool mechanic that rewards fighting as much as possible, which of course fits thematically with our bloodthirsty Jack. The boy really wants to punch chaos, okay? It's all here, and when it comes to the controls, they're lovely. The characters are very responsive, and the animations are snappy yet weighty. The game even implements animation cancelling into its mechanics, so you always feel like you're in control of the chaos on screen. The chaos control. And there are a few key features of the combat that I want to highlight as they really make it stand out. Enemies attack in various patterns, but you'll quickly notice that they also cast specific abilities, indicated by the name of the move appearing above their head. It's a cute little callback that also lets you know a more dangerous attack is imminent. Now let's talk about Soul Shield. This is a defensive ability that triggers if you press circle. It lets you parry the oncoming attack and counter with a quicker light attack. Pretty standard stuff, right? Well, if you use the Soul Shield to counter an ability that has a name in purple, you'll steal the ability and you can use it a few times with the square button.
It is a quick way of getting rid of them.
This mechanic is fantastic. It makes every encounter engaging because most, if not all, enemies, bosses included, have unique special purple moves that you can steal. It's also a cool reference to the Blue Mage job in other Final Fantasy games, which always allowed you to steal the moves of your enemies. You and the enemies have a stamina bar too. Take enough damage consistently enough and you'll break and fall, stunned for a few moments. Same applies to the enemies. If you break their bar, they will go down, and that's when you can do the Soul Burst. And these Soul Burst executions are amazing. Hilarious? Amazing. These finisher moves insta-kill the enemy regardless of how much HP they have left. They're also extremely visceral. Every type of weapon executes enemies differently as they turn into red crystals and explode into blood.
The aesthetics of this execution system mean that it can be really brutal while PG. It's strange.
Yeah. Which is funny, because like this game is not PG at all, because you get covered in blood when it happens, but for whatever reason, like, yeah, like you explode them into crystals, and then your character is just like absolutely Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This type of move fits perfectly with the edgy presentation. What's more, Jack usually accentuates this move with a scream of raw fury at the random little cactuar. except for the Tonberries. They get a little head pad. As they should. Soul Bursts also work on bosses, but a little differently. A boss's health bar is usually split into several sections, so if you do stagger them, you can remove the entire section with the Soul Burst, usually triggering a second or third phase of the fight.
I'll crush you! Know when you're beaten!
It's a great way to implement a really powerful move in your arsenal into a boss fight, while still making it a challenge. Unlike some games, looking at you, Claw. Check out my Claw video if you haven't seen it. I should also mention that the boss fights are really good. Even the very first one can pose a challenge with a variety of moves that punish you for not paying attention. Oh, I'm done. Most bosses you'll fight are direct adaptations from Final Fantasy 1, which makes sense, but there will be a few surprises along the way. The other major praise I want to give this game is the implementation of Final Fantasy jobs. Stranger of Paradise has a staggering amount of jobs to play around with. I staggered. That was for real. That wasn't like scripted. I can't stand. This game has made me not be able to stand. I can't stand this game. Thanks for subscribing. Woo. You unlock them by equipping a specific weapon, such as unlocking the mage when you first pick up a mace. Jobs have their own skill trees which contain passives, modifiers, and of course, new abilities that cost MP. At first, you only have access to basic jobs, but as you progress through the skill trees, you'll also be able to unlock advanced jobs that usually require leveling multiple job trees. It sounds a bit complicated, so as an example, let's look at the base job like Sword Fighter. Sword Fighter's job tree can access 2 additional jobs, Knight and Red Mage. In order to actually unlock these, you will need to put enough points in other base jobs required for each advanced job. To unlock Red Mage, you'll need to also level up Mage, and to unlock Knight, you'll need to level up the Swordsman job. Yes, that is a different job. It's actually a cool system because it forces you to engage with some jobs that you weren't necessarily thinking about playing in order to get the advanced job that you want. And then, each advanced job can unlock an expert job. This works very similarly to unlocking advanced jobs, but now you'll have to level 2 advanced jobs instead. So a knight can become a paladin. But in order to do that, you'll need to level up White Mage as well. This does sound like it could get a little bit tedious over the course of the game, but the genius thing this game does is that it lets you equip 2 jobs at once, letting you swap between them with the press of a button, even mid-combat. So good. This means you gain experience for both jobs. That, and your gear has affinity for specific jobs, giving you a small amount of experience in them, even if you're not actively playing them. This definitely makes the process of unlocking new jobs less annoying. Honestly, the amount of builds in this game is actually a little bit nuts. Some are more cheesy than others, but that's honestly a compliment because of how the jobs can interact with each other in interesting ways, like buffing on one job and switching to the other for a big hit, or applying a status effect and switching to use an ability that does increased damage to a paralyzed enemy. I'm honestly pretty blown away by the amount of customization the system offers, and every time I play, I try to find a new combination of jobs that I want to mess around with. Every job starts with one ability tied to the right trigger. This ability ranges in complexity quite a bit, from Sword Fighter's counter to the mage's spells, which require you holding the button and choosing the spell with the right stick. These abilities range from cool to insane, and you can weave them in between your combos, which adds a nice little layer of complexity. But I did mention abilities, didn't I? You can actually unlock even more abilities on each job tree. But that's funny, there isn't a hotbar or anything. So how do you access these skills during gameplay? You're playing a spectacle fighter, bucko. That's right, every ability can be slotted in specific points of your regular combo of attacks. You always use the right trigger to activate the ability, but it's about when you press the button that determines what ability comes out. What's insane is that it actually works pretty well. Because each attack animation is quick and to the point, it's pretty easy to get to your desired skill during combat. But that does mean that sometimes you over or undershoot and use the wrong ability, especially in a dicey situation, and that can cost you precious MP. I touched a little on MP before, but to explain it a little bit more, you start off with 2 MP at the beginning of each level, but with every Soul Shield and Soul Burst, that mana bar actually extends and can reach 6 or 7 bars. More if you have specific bonuses. This means that by the end of each level, you're going to be able to execute a lot of powerful skills back to back, and that really makes you feel like you're going to punch chaos. However, if you wipe and have to restart from the latest checkpoint, your MP will go back down to 2, which definitely feels like a punishment if you died to the final boss of the stage. Of course, Jack and I are real gamers, so we never die. I'm gonna get a kiss. Goodbye. Okay, I'm done. I'm dead. Oh, and a tiny side note, be careful when you wipe in online co-op. Sometimes this happens. I got the black screen.
Oh.
Right. That's something I should probably mention in the video. Thankfully, you can rejoin the game mid-level and you will keep everything you had pre-crash, so it's not that bad. Yeah, I've got my progress.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay.
One last thing that the jobs offer are commands. These are abilities that actually persist regardless of what jobs you have equipped at the time. This further increases the depth of build expression and can be really useful in a pinch. The first command you get is called Lightbringer, which allows you to do significantly increased break damage to enemies for a limited period of time. Now, every command is not going to be useful for every job at every time, so picking and choosing which 3 commands you'd like to have with you is a fun part of building your character. Oh yeah, I've got Venom now, of course.
Boring.
Next.
I really want to commend this dev team for what they've done here gameplay-wise. The game feels amazing to play, and it allows for nigh endless creativity when it comes to the jobs on offer. When you start the game, you're treated to a stunning pre-rendered cutscene of Garland kidnapping Princess Sarah and absolutely wasting some castle guards. It's extremely edgy, over the top, and bloody gorgeous. This cutscene, aside from being amazing, makes no pretense about what it's showing you. It's like the devs really wanted you to know, this is exactly what you're getting as soon as you press that start button. It not only sets the tone thematically, but also visually. You're immediately aware that you're not just going to be playing a one-to-one remake of Final Fantasy I. Aside from the pre-rendered cutscene, the game does look really nice.
Scratch.
While you can tell the graphical fidelity is not quite on par with games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Final Fantasy XVI, it does a lot with what it has. And what it has is a lot of cool ideas for locales, let me tell you. Each level looks gorgeous and has a distinct atmosphere. One level you're traversing an ancient coral-decorated sea grotto. The other, you're in a lush jungle with interactable orbs that change the weather. Other yet, you're in a tower full of crystal and a spaceship? Oh, that's right. Every level in Stranger of Paradise, aside from being a real location from Final Fantasy I, is also a reference to an individual mainline Final Fantasy game. It's actually pretty great, and wait, what do you mean Dimension 13? I'm serious, we've got the Crystal Tower from Final Fantasy III, Sastasha from Final Fantasy XIV, World of Ruin from Final Fantasy VI. Honestly, it's really amazing to see how they've been adapted for this game. They really swung for the fences with these levels, and I think it really paid off, not only because visually they look really nice, but also the music is a real treat. The score was headed by Naoshi Mizuta, who worked on several other Final Fantasy games, including Final Fantasy XIII-2 and Lightning Returns. And say what you will about those games, but the music was bloody great. And the music in Stranger of Paradise is no exception. It's mysterious one minute, it's heavy and electronic the next. It builds on established themes from Final Fantasy I and other games, and fuses them with this grungy and industrial sounding vibe. Battle and level themes all perfectly fit with the style and atmosphere of this edgy-ass game. My favorite example of this adaptation is in the very first level, the Chaos Shrine. The original sounds like this. It's beautiful, serene, and mysterious. An absolute classic, especially with the Pixel remaster. Oh boy, what a tune. Now, here's what it sounds like in Stranger of Paradise. What an absolute banger. It incorporates the original melody but transforms it into this grungy, scungy, heavy track while staying true to the mysterious and serene original. This is better than just a banger. This is what I like to call a respectful banger.
This track is awesome. I don't remember any of the music, but these tracks have all been fantastic.
And of course, not every track is going to sound like this. The music varies a lot, but I feel it always pays respect to the original while making it its own thing. I'd also like to mention the sheer size of this soundtrack. It's actually pretty staggering how many tracks there are in this game. Like, did you know that pretty much every boss fight has 2 different tracks that switch halfway through the fight? That's bloody dedication. Look, playing through this game, it becomes very apparent that this is a passion project. The love for the Final Fantasy series on display is so strong, I can taste it. And yes, it tastes like chaos. Of course it does. While I mentioned that the main characters may look out of place in a fantasy world, their designs themselves are pretty good. And I'll give you 3 guesses as to who designed them. It's Nomura. It's Tetsuya Nomura, ladies and gentlemen. Tetsuya Nomura is known for some pretty edgy designs, and while not everyone is a fan of his design work, I absolutely love it. Honestly, I always thought that Nomura's character style carried forward a lot of the design sensibilities that Yoshitaka Amano utilized in his artwork for Final Fantasy games. Look, the man has a style, and that style is a style that I like. But what's interesting is that these designs are much more restrained than his usual characters. It seems that he was inspired a lot by street fashion this time around, and honestly, these designs kind of work for me in a vacuum. Even Jack, with his extremely simplistic face, burns into your memory with his constant scowl and sharp eyes. Ironically, by having a much more subdued design, these characters stand out among other games in the series. I mentioned it before, but I feel like their simplistic designs were intentionally trying to put the players on edge, make them question if everything is as it seems. And if that's the case, well, it's pretty effective. Of course, this design choice may have just been because you'll be dressing these characters up in a million different ridiculous outfits throughout the game. I don't know. This game is hurting my brain. One thing the visuals don't hit 100% of the marks on are the character models. Because of their more realistic proportions, they sometimes slide into the uncanny valley, especially Jack, whose eyes give me serial killer vibes. Though who knows? I mean, at this point, it may have also just been an intended effect. I don't know anymore. On the subject of edgy and gritty visuals, the way combat looks is spectacular. It's flashy, visceral, and bloody. Hitting an enemy a million times with a huge sword and then exploding them into crystals and a lot of blood feels pretty incredible, I gotta say. Yes, let's go. And the game doesn't cheap out on that power fantasy bombastic atmosphere. Every animation from slash to spell feels cool and over the top. Even if sometimes the effects on the screen can be a little bit much. In our first playthrough, I frequently blinded Jack with the Ultima spell, which was very funny for me, but may have been a little frustrating for him. Sorry about that, Jack. But it was really funny though. The enemy design is also wonderful. They walk this fine line of being just realistic enough that they fit into this more gritty reimagining, but also retain a lot of their Final Fantasy identity from previous games. As a fan of the series, it's super exciting to see how these staple Final Fantasy enemies were translated into this game. Same goes for bosses. They're all creatively designed and a spectacle to fight. Their abilities are all flashy, and it helps that bosses in this game are no pushover. I especially love that Jack has unique soul bursts for each boss in the game, and they're all so insane that you can't help but grin. I mean, who doesn't want to get eaten by a Marlboro and explode it into blood and guts from the inside? No? Just me? Alright. Never mind. Stranger of Paradise can be played with up to 2 friends all the way through in online co-op. And honestly, it works pretty well. The infrastructure of the co-op system is well made, with rare disconnects and pretty stable gameplay. Put 'em up, 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 put 'em up. I mean, heck, Jack and I are playing the game between Japan and the UK, and we can get through the game on higher difficulties. Granted, we are elite, top-tier gamers, so that's not a surprise. But there are a few bizarre choices that detract from the enjoyment just a tad. First of all, in order to play together, you'll need to join your friend's game. This means that you're technically making progress on your friend's save. Now, you do actually carry over this progress to your own save file as well, so it's not like you have to do the levels twice each time or anything. That would be ridiculous, right? However, the game has several missions that for one reason or another have to be done offline, solo. Now, there aren't many of these missions, but they are there. And the mission choices for these are
So this
strange.
Is what this seems like.
Sometimes it's just talking to someone, sometimes it's a short combat section, and sometimes it's the final boss. Wait, what? Yeah, the final boss is one you'll have to do solo. The final level is co-opable, but the final boss isn't. I really wonder why this was. The best reason I can think of is that it's connected to how the co-op in Stranger of Paradise plays out. When you join your friend's game, you actually take control of one of the other party members. That means that one person plays Jack, and the other plays Jed, Ash, Neon, etc. You have to do it.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Maybe they needed you to be Jack in specific situations for immersion purposes. Maybe it was a budget constraint. Honestly, I'm not sure, but it is an important thing to mention as it does detract from the co-op experience just a bit. Playing as other characters in the party brings up another complaint that I have, and that is gear. Now, when you take over a character like this, you keep all of your gear and jobs that you have equipped on your Jack. This is good because you don't have to fiddle with gear swapping every time you play with a friend. But although you have your gear equipped, the character's appearance is locked to what your friend had equipped on them before you joined. This sucks a bit, especially in a game with a crazy amount of loot like this one. Of course, you always want to mix and match your gear, but aside from the stats and passives you'll gain, you won't see that gear reflected on your character at all, with the exception of the weapons.
Oh man, it's such a shame that they've got this whole like customization limitation in co-op because it's such a cool co-op game.
Customization limitation is the name of my new album. What we've always done as a solution is that between play sessions, we'd ask the host to change up some of the gear for the other party members so that we can enjoy at least a little variety each time we play.
Yeah, so, I mean, what we can do is, between the mission, I can literally just kick you quickly, put something cool looking on Jed.
Still, that's just a band-aid over a flaw that really shouldn't be there. In a game like this, I want to keep changing my outfits and weapons, because the game showers me with loot at every corner. I really can't take her seriously in this hand.
What are you talking about? She looks dapper AF, bro.
She looks like a Redditor. All that said, the game works really well in co-op. You can revive each other using potion charges, which restore every time you rest at the cubes.
Look, cubes! Better not forget where it is.
And using Phoenix Downs, which you have 3 of every mission.
Not off to a good start.
The difficulty definitely goes down a little due to the nature of juggling aggro and supporting each other, but that's usual for a Souls-like. Because of the crazy amount of build customization, you can create some monstrous combos with just one friend, and I can't imagine what you could concoct playing it with 2. Seriously, you can pull off some insane damage with the right setups. When playing solo, you're joined by 2 party members anyway, but their AI is questionable, so it's definitely more fun to have your good mates punching chaos alongside you. Ah, chaos. It brings friends together. I've put this off long enough. I can't continue this video without talking about the plot. We're going to split this section into 2. In the first half, I want to talk about my general thoughts and gripes about the plot and characterization. And in the second half, I'll talk in detail about the latter half of the game and the ending. Now, there will be a spoiler section later on, but I will give you enough of a warning and a time code to skip to if you want to avoid spoilers. So I mentioned that the game actually has a cool premise. The opening minutes do set up a bit of mystery, especially with that great pre-rendered cutscene and the party of 3 egg-wielding warriors of light ? However, this story suffers from 2 major issues. Number 1. The dialogue. To be honest with you, you can see this problem from the moment characters start speaking. Characters in this game almost exclusively talk at each other. Every exchange is extremely disjointed, with people jumping between concepts and ideas with no rhyme or reason.
No, but you will.
It's like every character is monologuing at all times. It makes it so difficult to actually try to follow what is being talked about. It doesn't help that this plot is genuinely so convoluted, and the numerous cutscenes really do nothing to help you understand what's going on. Things just happen, and characters just know or don't know what to do about it.
I know its name. Tiamat.
Characters just remember things, or don't remember things, or say that they do, or say that they don't, but the player is never shown any of it. The introduction of Neon is a prime example of this. After defeating the first boss, Chaos Advent, who looks just like Garland, the party realizes it's actually a woman. She wakes up and starts immediately talking about her past. And of course, right after we have the most famous scene of the game, but I want to focus on what she's actually saying right here. Let's play a little game. Watch the following cutscene and please try to answer, what is chaos? You know, that seems like a pretty reasonable question to be asking in a game where they say the word chaos about 10 times per second. The CPS of this game is through the roof.
Chaos is just a fairy tale. The darkness, the beasts, this despair that eats away at people's hearts. It's easy to blame a single thing for all of that. It gives people hope to think the world can be saved with a single heroic deed, even if it's never that simple. So I decided to become a sacrifice. I offered myself to the darkness and prayed to become chaos, hoping some band of heroes would defeat me and thus bring an end to this empty dream.
You might be inclined to say that she learned that chaos was just a concept, and so she decided to try and become this concept so that people might defeat her, so that the endless dream ends. Chaos is a concept, but it isn't. But Neon wanted to become a real chaos? Now remember, this is the first level of the game. So far, we have been told that there is a chaos and that we gotta go beat it up. In fact, it's
All I
currently
care
Jack's
about is
sole
seeing
motivation.
Chaos dead.
The player's information
need
at
to.
any given moment does not even come
not a
close to
or a
what is
dream.
being discussed. And I can prove it. Immediately after this
Then show
scene,
me
Neon
chaos.
says that if Jack can show her chaos,
I might
then she
even
will
start to
respect him.
you.
Though she joins the party anyway.
Deal.
And then like 2 levels later, during gameplay, Jed asks Neon if she remembers that she said that to Jack when they met. And she goes, haha, wow, that was stupid, wasn't it? Please forget about it. As if she now believes chaos is real?
Hey, Neon, remember you said if we met Chaos, you'd start respecting Jack?
Huh. Did I?
Yep.
Sorry, he's right.
Any chance you could forget that?
So what is it, game? Why is she now suddenly convinced? It's been 1 hour and nothing happened to prove her otherwise. Why are you like this, game? And don't you be telling me that it's because they saw those white bats in the forest, because actually, that doesn't even turn out to be true at all. Those bats have nothing to do with chaos, which is not told to the player at all. This game... As I said, things just happen, and people just say things.
Wow. So this is what the city's like. I'd forgotten.
Looks like you're as forgetful as the rest of us.
Am I? I guess so.
We're forgetting things all the time.
What do you mean you're forgetting things all the time, Jed? This is the first time you've spoken about anything! I do like the amount of dialogue in the levels during gameplay, but once again, none of it feels natural. They mostly just make stilted comments about chaos being real or not being real.
Nice! Down with the old, up with the, us!
Up with the us.
Thank God he always speaks his mind.
I have absolutely no idea what happened with the dialogues in this game. I can't even imagine who is to blame for these dialogues. Is it a case of bad translation? Voice direction? Honestly, I think the voice actors are actually doing all they can with the material given, so it's really hard to say. Look,
Of course,
maybe you
I
could
deal
make an
with a
argument that the
monster
dialogues in this
commands
game are
high
obtuse on
price.
purpose.
Your
Like the
very
game is
lives
trying
may
to
be required
disorient you so that
destiny.
you're never quite sure what's going on. But if every dialogue in the game is completely inconsistent, it doesn't sound
Is that
mysterious.
funny?
It sounds like nonsense.
I just forgot what it's like to hear some good news for once.
And to be honest, nonsense is hilarious. Now, here's the thing I want to stress. This game is hysterical.
And so their journey begins. And so their quest began.
Playing through, there are so many cutscenes and interactions that are, with no hyperbole, comedy gold. I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of chaos, but for me and my mates, the constant confusion turned into howling laughter.
Chaos, savvy? Just tell us where the crystals are.
It's poor form not to laugh at a pirate's jokes, lad.
There is a reason it's that scene this game is remembered for. It's just the perfect encapsulation of the feeling this game gives you. Utter confusion, followed by something so jarring you're completely taken aback. Mind you, I've seen this scene maybe a dozen times in my life, and this was still how we reacted in our playthrough.
Bullshit.
It's...
What's the point?
It just never ends. It just keeps going and going and getting crazier and crazier. And the more you play, the more you slowly become, as Jack really aptly put it, bewildered to the point of delirium.
What did the skeleton say when he got knocked into loads of pieces?
He said, "Bone to meet you."
I need. Oh, my headphones!
Off I go.
I hate you so much. Oh, it was so. Oh, no! It's not what he says.
So I definitely recommend experiencing this plot even just for that reason alone. If any of this is even remotely funny to you, you will have a great time with this crazy game.
Chaos exists. I knew it. I told you.
The fuck?
He just comes in, says chaos exists, and deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't laugh at bats and says chaos exists?
Still, even if you have a lot of experience with stories of this nature, you will have a tough time parsing and trying to understand the ceaseless name-dropping and disjointed dialogue. And you know why? Because half of this plot is hidden from you. This is my second main gripe with this story. In each level, this game hides these text logs, two types from two different points of view. Now, many games do this. It's a good way to expand the world's lore and reward the player's curiosity with nice supplemental information. Stranger of Paradise does this too. Oh, except for the fact that these journals are essential to even remotely understand what the hell is happening in this video game. I'm serious. These little info dumps are the only way you're ever going to learn about key aspects of the game that are crucial to the plot. Don't believe me? Here's a handy list of them. What a Stranger of Paradise is! Look, I'm all for not spelling everything out to the player and letting them piece things together on their own, but this is too much.
I think you've seen it before.
The game simultaneously constantly repeats itself, but never explains itself. So if you've missed even one of these logs, you'll be beaten over the head with terms you're not familiar with, yet expected to understand to keep up.
What?
I think what makes it worse is that these logs are exclusively part of the gameplay. Nobody ever mentions them narratively, and yet the information contained in these logs is absolutely necessary in order to even have a fighting chance of understanding what the hell is happening in this game.
Someone or something must have decided to make it this way.
It doesn't help that some of them are long and really verbose. I have no problem with reading, but it completely breaks the pace of the level. And if you're playing co-op, you'll have to figure out how you want to approach reading them. When you come across these in your game, I recommend assigning one person to read it out loud, preferably in a silly voice, so that everybody can enjoy it and that hopefully you can retain some of the information within. Because you're gonna need it. Bottom line is, if you're here just for good memes and a great combat system, you don't need to care about these. But if you want to try and make some sense of this story, these will be your only bet. I do wonder why so much plot-relevant information was presented this way. The obvious guess here would be, of course, money and time constraints. And, you know, it's very possible that the dev team tried their best to implement this information into the game, and this was the only compromise they could have done. Honestly, that would check out. Okay, so this is it. This is the spoiler warning. I want to talk about some of the reveals of this game because they are simultaneously the worst and the funniest thing in existence.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I will go over the general plot and then get into the hilarity that is the second half of this game. If you'd like to avoid spoilers, skip to this section of the video because I still have a few things I'd like to say afterwards. 3, 2, 1.
Chaos.
So the party is instructed by the king of Cornelia to find the 4 elemental crystals and heal the corruption that's infesting them in hopes of restoring balance to the elements. Princess Sarah asks Jack to find a knight named Garland, a noble, friendly knight who has disappeared.
If you could, I would be grateful if you looked for him.
Look, we don't have time for a rescue mission, Princess.
So far so good. Pretty standard stuff. When the party reaches the Wind Crystal, however, they find it guarded by Tiamat, a boss straight out of Final Fantasy I. After defeating it, Tiamat turns out to be a woman named Sophia, who the party seems to remember but not sure where from.
Yes, Ash. We're all looking.
Wait, where are we looking? As the story progresses, the other 4 fiends from Final Fantasy I seem to be connected to Jack's party members. Tiamat to Sophia, Snake Lady to Neon, Lich to Ash, and Kraken to Jed. Every time you beat them, spooky dark mist is absorbed into one of the smelly eggs, and the corresponding member gets some memories.
What?
I have absolutely zero idea what's happening. They also meet Astos, a dark elf who is way too handsome for his own good, and for his own evil too. He seems to know a lot more than he lets on about what's going on. We learn that Jack and his party are referred to as strangers. Oh, and that they keep losing and gaining memories that sometimes seem not their own.
That thought might not be
okay.
wrong. In the end, there are no answers here. I don't remember either.
Neither do I.
Yeah, same.
You know I don't.
Shut up. Shut up, Neon. Shut up. And while again, very little is explained directly in the dialogues, Jack does eventually start getting flashbacks to mysterious chats with a, drumroll please, Lufenian. Yes, Lufenians, the ancient race from Final Fantasy I. I wonder if little Timmy, back in 1989, would have been able to predict Stranger of Paradise some 30 years later. I want to believe that he would have. He seems like a smart kid. The Lufenian explains that the smelly eggs are in fact not crystals, but memory storage devices that allow strangers to retain memories and abilities through different resets. But they can't contain every memory, which is why they forget a lot of things during every loop. Pardon?
Why do we have to forget?
Simple. To ensure our glorious future.
Yeah, so this is the part of the story that makes me, a person who's finished the game twice now, feel like a complete idiot. So if there are any Stranger of Paradise scholars watching the video, feel free to go down in the comments and soul burst me out of existence. I don't know. Here we go. So as you may have guessed, this game is not a retelling of Final Fantasy I. It is in fact a prequel.
I'm just another one of their gifts.
Final Fantasy I established the Lufenians as an ancient race that used the power of the Wind Crystal to create airships and generally had very advanced technology. Well, according to this game, they also came across technology that allows them to rewind a world to a specific time period, and they used this technology to reset Cornelia countless times.
A utopia.
And why would they want to do that, you ask? It turns out that the Lufenians are using Cornelia as a sort of energy power plant. They want to harness darkness energy for their own purposes, and to do that, they need to make sure that Cornelia remains in a balanced state of light and darkness. This is because if there was too much darkness at any point, the world would be destroyed, and if there would be too much light, not enough darkness would be produced for their own needs. So Lufenians send these otherworldly agents, called Strangers, to Cornelia with the purpose of defeating darkness and maintaining balance. Thus, they are injected with an almost primal desire to hunt down chaos. The logs reveal that this cycle must have happened countless times already, but the smelly eggs wipe the memories of the strangers with each reset.
But if chaos takes root, you are lost to us.
So what exactly is chaos? Nobody shuts up about it, but nobody actually ever really explains it either. So it's up to me to explain it for you, so I'm going to do my best. I don't really want to do this. I'm probably going to get it wrong, but I'm going to try because it's what I chose to do on a lovely Tuesday afternoon. So here we go. Chaos is darkness mixed with human emotions. It's a side effect of the darkness harvesting plan. According to Astos' logs, chaos is a force that Lufenians cannot control, so they fear it and reset the world each time a stranger or human becomes a chaos conduit. So, you keeping up? Yeah? Me neither.
How is this the second time I've seen all this and I still have no idea what's happening?
I can't explain.
After restoring the 4 crystals, the party confronts Astos, who, after his defeat, reveals the truth of the strangers and the Lufenians' manipulation of Cornelia to Jack. And he takes it well.
I only want one thing from you, Astos.
A kiss.
Oh my god!
Give me a reason.
I'd love to, Jack. Really, I would.
Our newest organic reconnaissance unit. We'll show it to you later.
I don't see much point. I'll forget about it either way.
But Astos won't forget you.
Next time.
It turns out Astos was an observer for the Lufenians, and he and Jack used to be good buddies in previous cycles.
The fist bump, the highest form of respect.
Jack.
Same as Jack and Princess Sarah, who we learn used to have a thing for each other.
I love this song.
I mean, can't you just feel all this romance?
You can borrow it if you want.
No, it's okay. I memorized it.
You sure about that?
Of course I am. You never forget your first love.
This romance is impeccable.
After the party returns to Cornelia, Princess Sarah finds Jack's
smelly egg.
And unfortunately, she didn't make it. And that's when we get the mother of all reveals. It turns out that Garland was actually...
I never asked your name.
It's Jack.
Stop. I meant your last name.
Oh, Garland. My name's Jack Garland.
That's a lovely name.
You never forget your first love.
Also, what's your
name? As insane as it sounds, Jack and I actually called this twist accidentally at the beginning of our original playthrough. I don't know what that says about us, but it's nothing good.
Will you come hear it once I've finished?
I'm a stranger here.
As Jack's previous lives rush back into him, the party suddenly attacks Jack in order for him to kill them, to transfer their collected darknesses into him and for him to become chaos. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Sure, okay, sure.
What have I done?
You know I like to speak my mind.
I know. Oh, good memories with Jed.
All those memories of the times that we didn't have our memories together.
Do you see what I mean when I say that this game makes me feel like an idiot? I don't know. Maybe it makes perfect sense. Maybe it's just a me problem. Maybe I've gone insane from drinking too many elixirs. Seeing that Chaos has grown too powerful, Lufenia cuts their connection with Cornelia, ending the time loop. Not really a time loop, but you know what I mean. And allowing it to continue as before.
Agent Garland, you are hereby discharged. Goodbye, Jack. Lufenia thanks you for your service.
Chaos Jack is warned by a Lufenian agent that now that he's become Chaos, there will be many people wanting to kill him.
Champions will arise one day to bring you low.
Like a real gamer, Jack replies, "Let's go!" and gets transported 2,000 years into the past to wait for the eventual arrival of the natural Cornelia-born Warriors of Light, putting an end to him and the 4 fiends who were our party
Lufenia's
members.
tentacles can't reach us here.
I've got a fun plan.
Do tell.
We'll train the Warriors of Light ourselves.
Interesting.
How?
The Warriors of Light will be born in Cornelia.
And that's it. I'm sure I've missed some things, but that's the general gist of the plot. Jack and the gang take on the roles of the baddies from Final Fantasy I, which leads us to the beginning of the game, where we, as Warriors of Light, go to the Chaos Shrine and fight
Break it! Shine your light upon eternity and cleanse the stain of chaos! Or be snuffed out!
There's DLC. And it continues the plot of the game. Gosh, isn't this a bit chaotic? The Warriors of Light turn out to be super weak, so Jack and the gang meet Bahamut, as you do, who promises to strengthen the future Warriors of Light if the party completes a series of tasks. The DLC is a bit grindy, but a fun way to put your builds to the test, as some of the missions really put up a challenge. The story does sort of make sense too. I think it kind of fits the character of Jack to want to buff his opponents. I want to believe that it's not just because he wants to bring peace to the world, but he probably gets off on it too. Anyway, pretty cool, not overly insane DLC. Oh, and then the Emperor from Final Fantasy II shows up and tries to conquer the world. What? What do you mean, the Emperor from Final Fantasy II? What do you mean, the actual real Emperor from Final Fantasy II is in this game? What is happening? Hey there everyone who skipped the spoiler section of the video, good to have you back. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything utterly deranged. This game, man. This game. Throughout writing this video, I've been trying to put into words my genuine feelings for it, but both the positive and negative thoughts are so strong that it was hard to come up with a conclusion. Is it a good game? Is it a bad game? Ultimately, I think it doesn't actually matter. It's a fun game with an insane story that makes my brain and my sides hurt. Replaying the game, more than the positive and negative feelings, another feeling became prevalent. And that feeling is respect.
Do that, and I might even start to respect you.
Yes, Neon, thank you. But it's true. More than anything else, I respect this game. I respect it for being absolutely and unapologetically itself. You know, I think now more than ever, I think the gaming industry needs these types of games. In the age of constant safe releases and never-ending live service games, it's really refreshing to see a game so blatantly do what it wants to do, regardless of how ridiculous it may seem. It's really funny because when this game released, I heard people call it a cynical cash grab with a Final Fantasy skin slapped on it. And after playing it twice through now, I just can't bring myself to agree. The game is so off the wall with its ideas, and it takes itself so seriously that you can feel the storyteller's passion seeping through the insane and disjointed dialogue. It's a bit like when a friend is telling you the story of a game or a movie that they really like, but you've never heard of. You'll probably struggle to keep up with their ramble, but gosh darn it, do you appreciate their effort. I am that friend. Subscribe to appreciate the effort. But this game is also like this imaginary friend. It has a story to tell, and it's going to tell it whether you keep up or not. Honestly, the fact that despite their time and budget constraints, they did still add all the relevant information in some way, just to try and explain the grand concepts they came up with, is pretty telling that this game wasn't just something that nobody cared about. Besides, if it was just a cynical cash grab, wouldn't it make more sense for them to use more popular Final Fantasy characters and games? I don't know about you, but I just can't seem to imagine a 60-something-year-old executive saying to themselves, "You know what the kids of 2022 would just lap up? Obscure lore from Final Fantasy 1. Ah, yes. All the money." I called this game many things throughout this video, but one thing I won't ever call it is lazy or cynical. Whether the effort was spent well or not is one thing, but the effort is there, without a doubt. It's a testament for doing what you want and sticking to your creative guns. It might not always turn out perfect. Heck, it might even turn out bad, but I will always, without hesitation, take the flawed, entertaining, and creative game over the mediocre, designed by committee, safe product. And I think many people would agree.
A friend gave me some advice once. He said, "You've got to be crazy if you want to change the world."
Thank you so much for watching the video. This was a huge undertaking because I had so much to say about this game, and I don't think I could have done it without my wonderful friend Jack supporting me, so huge shout outs to him. Now I know I've said some negative things about this game, but I really do believe it's a lot of fun and it deserves your attention. So go grab some friends and go punch a chaos. You'll be glad you did. Now I'd really like to know what your favorite weird game is. The weirder the better, especially if it confused you as much as Stranger of Paradise confused me. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you watched all the way to this point, thank you so much, you're incredible. And if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscribe. That kind of stuff really helps me out. And if you really liked it, go back to the beginning and count just how many times the word chaos was used throughout the video. Don't actually do that though. Don't actually do that. I'll do. I'm not your dad. And now, with the power of my own real smelly egg, I'll be able to contact Jack Garland and ask him for the answer to this age-old question that I've had. This crossword puzzle that I've been stuck on for a really long time. I'm only missing one word. So Jack, are you there? Yes. All right. 5 across. The state opposite to order. Chaos. Huh. Well, that can't be right.